So in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about the different starter fertilizer strategies and why each strategy is different and what our whole goal is with the starter fertilizer. So to begin, of course, starter fertilizer can be many different things. In a sense of when we're using a drill for wheat production, starter fertilizer can be banded alongside or even really mixed in with the seed in the case of a product like MAP, or in our row crop production for corn, soybeans, and what have you. We're often putting on with the planter maybe in a different placement strategy of a 2x2, either maybe in furrow with the seed, on top of the surface, behind the press wheel, all kind of different aspects. And you can refer to these as a pop-up or dribble or starter, all sorts of different names. But the goal of all starter fertilizer applications is to provide those critical nutrients to the fresh seedling right away so we can overcome either poor environmental conditions like a cool, wet soil or just a cool soil in general, or to provide the fertilizer in high efficiency application. Because when we band, we increase our application year efficiency of phosphorus. This is a well-established thing. Those are the ideas behind the starter fertilizer application. Now, starter fertilizer, we start talking about nutrients other than maybe phosphorus and nitrogen. We also then have to start thinking about placement and seedling injury possibilities. So the advice from Ward Laboratories is that when you want to get something other than phosphorus, we start to say, let's not place it with the seed. So say we're doing something other than 1034-0. We're going to want to now move our starter fertilizer application away from an in furrow to maybe a off to the side of the seed, a 0x2 or 2x2 placement. And that is simply to protect the seed from that nitrogen, as either nitrate ammonium or that sulfate that can damage that young seedling. Now, we hear the term low salt in these situations. Often that's referring to chloride, which is very damaging to seedlings. But once again, in my opinion, I just like to get stuff, especially when you're talking about nitrogen and sulfur, just get that stuff away from the seed. There's no reason to risk damaging that young seedling. So some other considerations of the rate of the starter fertilizer. Generally, the starter fertilizer is not meant to be a season fulfilling application. It's meant as, just as the name implies, to start the seed off. So especially from a nitrogen, a sulfur standpoint, we're not going to be able to apply the season's need of fertilizer with the starter application. That should not be the goal. From a phosphorus standpoint, if we have a high testing soil, maybe the starter is really all we need, and that way we can reallocate those fertilizer dollars to another ag input this season. But the rate should be something, as the name implies, it's just something to get the seed started, not something that's going to fulfill the crop's need that year. And for figuring out, what the starter versus the season-long need is, of course, that's where a good soil sample always can help you determine out what that appropriate rate should be. Because again, our goal at Ward Laboratories and why we offer soil testing is to provide farmers good information for sound economic decisions so you guys can be profitable this year and the years following. So hopefully those are some ideas and some thoughts behind starter fertilizer. Again, this is a very common practice, is very widely used, but it's something to always be cognizant of so we don't damage our crop to begin the season.